President Uhuru Kenyatta playing Raila Odinga? That's one question which most Kenyans have been asking themselves, especially after the president signed that post-election agreement with Kalonzo Musyoka. So today I want us to look at Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta and whether these agreements can actually make the president betray Raila Odinga. But before we do that, if you are watching this video for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, you will get notified. Because what we do on this platform is very simple. We analyze politics. And at the end of each video, at least there's a value you get from it. Now, back to the main issue. This week has been a very interesting week in this country, politically speaking. We've witnessed the emergence of Jubilee Asili in this country. And this week, we've also witnessed signing of two more post-election agreements. The first one between President Uhuru Kenyatta through Jubilee, and another one through Jubilee and Kalonzo Musyoka through Wiper. Very few Kenyans had actually expected those two parties to sign post-election agreement. Personally, I never imagined it would happen. Then, the president also signed another post-election agreement with Chama cha Mashinani. But in my view, that was expected because Chama cha Mashinani has been in talks with the president for either post-election agreement or maybe consideration in joining the government as a way of elevating or strengthening Gideon Moi in Rift Valley. But Kenyans have been asking themselves one question, especially now that the president has signed a post-election agreement with KANU, with Wiper, and with Chama cha Mashinani. They've been asking themselves, is it a strategy of the president to isolate Raila Odinga and William Ruto at the same time? In my view, to be honest with you, I don't know the president's game plan. But from where I sit, I don't think the president is planning to betray Raila Odinga. I also want to believe that the president and his deputy are done. I'm saying this because of the following reasons. Number one is what I can call Raila-Ruto factor. President Uhuru Kenyatta can actually betray Raila Odinga. I'm not denying that. The president can also betray William Ruto. Of course, he has done that. But one thing I know for sure the president cannot attempt to do is to betray both William Ruto and Raila Odinga at the same time. The president cannot betray the two together. He can only betray one at a time. So if the president will have to betray Raila Odinga, it will mean one thing, that he will have to go and mend fences with his deputy. Because from all indications, his deputy has already moved on. His deputy has decided not to fight over Jubilee Party. So he has left Jubilee Party headquarters to President Uhuru Kenyatta, David Murathe, and Rafael Tuju. And he has now formed his own center, Jubilee Asili Center, where he's coordinating his activities, meeting the people who have been kicked out by the president. So I know for sure the president and the DP are not in terms. So whether they can mend fences, I don't know. But one mistake the president cannot do is to betray Raila Odinga and betray William Ruto at the same time. And for that reason, I strongly believe the president is just trying to consolidate and strengthen his bargaining power with the Raila Odinga. So that's number one. Number two is the betrayal tag. Assuming today the president decides to betray Raila Odinga, he had betrayed the deputy president. How will he move out of that betrayal tag? Remember, the father betrayed Jaramogi. It can happen anyway. It can happen that the president can also decide to betray. But again, as a human being who still has political ambitions in the future, because the president is going nowhere, he cannot afford to have that betrayer tag. In that case, it would mean even the next person who is coming to join him would fear being betrayed in the near future. And because of that, I don't think the president can betray Raila Odinga, especially before the election. I know for sure that the president is planning to become the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. The president is keen on ensuring that the Building Bridges Initiative, the BBI, the referendum, will include the Prime Minister and will pass. Because if it won't pass, it means he's going home to Gatundu. He's not ready for that. And because of that, he will have to ensure that he holds these people together. And by holding these people, you know, like what's happening in ANC and Fort Kenya, they've already rebelled. So if they're not accommodated, then they'll definitely leave. So the president, because of his personal interest, will not allow himself to be tagged again another betrayer. Number 3 is past political debts. Mzee Kenyatta worked with Jaramogi. He betrayed Jaramogi. Mzee Kenyatta then worked with Tom Mboya almost in a similar environment like what we are witnessing between Uhuru and Raila. We know how Tom Mboya ended up. Uhuru Kenyatta worked very closely with the deputy president. And up to now, personally, I still don't understand what caused the two gentlemen to disagree. Up to now, I don't know. But again, he has betrayed the deputy president. Under that circumstance, he's been working with Raila Odinga, and very closely, calling Raila brother, Raila calling him brother. He has actually now allocated funds to Raila Odinga's office. Raila Odinga is like a co-president in this country. Now, if he will betray Raila Odinga, a man, he betrayed the DP because he promised the DP he promised to support the DP. He didn't. Those debts of the past, the president would want them not to haunt him in future. Remember, Maina Commander once told people in Kikuyu that the friction between Jaramogi and Kenyatta was caused by people around them. And for the last 50 years, those debts, those betrayals are still there. So if the president had an agreement with Raila Odinga, and let me give the president his credit and Raila Odinga his credit, they've maintained one thing, that the handshake was not about 2022 general election. But for sure, from my side where I am, I know for sure that 2022 general election was at the center of that handshake. So at their personal level, probably they even signed documents. 2022 was discussed. And in that discussions, probably because the president was retiring, he promised to support Raila Odinga as a return of repaying the debt of the father. So if he will betray Raila Odinga, who will allow himself to sign another agreement with a betrayer? So the president is going to be very keen and tied to those past political debts, not to betray Raila Odinga. Number 4, I'm sure and I'm convinced that Uhuru Kenyatta is keen on becoming the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. The BBI will come, and the president was very clear. He told the people who sit in Bahati, I think in Nakuru County, that the position for the Kikuyu will be in the BBI. And that position, in my view, is the post of the Prime Minister. And if the president will go for the Prime Minister, if he wants to go for it, because the Constitution is going to give Prime Minister some power, if he will go for the Prime Minister's post, then one thing is clear. He can't betray Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has the numbers. The president competed against Raila Odinga in 2013 and in 2017. He knows where he is, that they rigged Raila Odinga out. He knows that Raila Odinga has the numbers. He can't lose William Ruto's numbers, especially, let's say, the MPs from Rift Valley who supports the DP, and then lose Raila Odinga and the MPs which supports Raila Odinga across the country. He will need the numbers to become the president. And that's why he's bringing in Kalonzo. If he brings Kalonzo and enters into a post-election agreement, so they're going to sign what they are calling Jubilee Coalition. That's Kalonzo, Gideon Moi, Isaac Ruto, and Uhuru Kenyatta. Probably the 11 sponsor joint candidates in 2022. And then now that Jubilee Coalition now will enter into an agreement with ODM party. So once they enter into an agreement with ODM party, so they are going to have the numbers. The prime minister will be determined by the numbers. And because of that, the DP can't dare dump or betray Raila Odinga unless the president cannot dare dump Raila Odinga unless the president is not keen on becoming the prime minister of this Republic of Kenya. But from all indications, the president is very keen on becoming the next prime minister. Prime minister is a game of numbers. Members of parliament, how many are you bringing on board? Can Kalonzo, Gideon, and Uhuru marshal enough members of parliament to elect Uhuru Kenyatta as the prime minister? They can't unless they have Raila Odinga on their side or they have William Ruto on their side. Those are the realities. And because the DP is already out, he must maintain Raila Odinga, whether he likes it or not. And lastly, I think this is also part of the wider strategy of the president to continue isolating his deputy. The deputy president is now being portrayed as someone who cannot work with the rest of the team. Look at it from this perspective. William Ruto was with Uhuru Kenyatta in Jubilee, and now he's out there. Uhuru has brought Kalonzo, he has brought Raila, he has brought Gideon, he has brought Isaac Ruto. I'm sure even Musalia Mudavadi, the president has tried bringing on board. But for Musalia Mudavadi, I understand his case, and I've opined on this platform for severally, that for Musalia Mudavadi to survive politically, he must contest for the presidency. And that's why I'm saying even the people from the William Ruto side who are backing on Musalia Mudavadi to support the DP, it won't happen. Musalia Mudavadi will only be relevant, politically speaking, in Western Kenya. Because even today, they were tear-gassed in Bungoma. And Mudavadi is talking about Mulembe Nation. This is a person who wants to become the president of the Republic of Kenya. So for him to be relevant in that region first, he must contest for the presidency. So the president probably had tried reaching out to Mudavadi. But Mudavadi, because he's keen on presidency, is not going to be part of it. But the fact is, all these strategies are geared towards isolating the deputy president so that the DP can be viewed as someone who cannot work with the rest of the team. I don't know what you think, but from my conclusion, the president is just serving his own political interest by signing those agreements. He's not keen on betraying Raila Odinga. He's not keen on dumping Raila Odinga. He can't dump Raila Odinga and dump William Ruto at the same time. But he can dump Raila Odinga and renew his love with William Samoei Ruto. But before that, he can't make the risk of betraying Raila and betraying William Ruto at the same time. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day.